What's going on YouTube? Flopfish here, and I'm bringing you a breakdown of free agency, more specifically the fireworks that occurred today, July the 4th. And for Minnesota Wild fans, you guys have to be happy. Wow, getting both Suter and Parise, the big two fish out on the market for 13 years each and $98 million each. Now, this just happened like 2 minutes ago as I'm recording this. Really great deal. Good to see for hockey. And a lot of people are saying, but why Minnesota? Minnesota sucks. They're not actually that bad. They were actually leading the NHL at some point, or up there with the Canucks at some point last year. And, honestly, they're pretty scary now. They have a really solid young core. Give them a couple years. They may not win the cup right away, but give them a couple years and watch out. They are just going to electrify hockey in general. It's great to see for the state of Minnesota, one of the best hockey states there is. And, honestly, it's really impressive to see that both got signed. The franchise kind of looked like it was heading a bit downhill, but, they'll have a very solid, amazing fan base now. You just signed two of the biggest players there were. You're obviously gonna get some nice little players or some more fans. So you think about it that way, it's not gonna cost them that much. But honestly, the deal was perfect for both Suter, Parise, and the Wild, for all of them, because it's Parise's hometown. He's probably dreamed about putting on the Minnesota Wild sweater. And my buddy, I Hop Borders there, predicted this at the trade deadline, saying they'd get Parise. I'm pretty sure there was something about Suter in there too, but both of them were just, I don't know, it's a deal that just works and makes sense in my opinion. They didn't go to the best team. Suter had an offer from the Penguins, and Parise had an offer from the Penguins, and Suter had an offer from Detroit. The Minnesota Wild still had a bigger money, cash offer, but honestly, I guess it's $8 million, but over 8 years, it's kind of just, it's not that big of a deal. Or over 13 years, it's not really that much of a difference, especially when you're going to, Detroit, who's the quote-unquote one of the best hockey teams there is, and he knows he'd be replacing Nick Lidstrom. But I guess the thing with Minnesota is that now, they both grew up relatively close. I know Parise grew up in Minnesota, and Suter was just outside in Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure. But the Wild have Granlund coming up next year. Ballmer could make it. They have Scandella, Falk. And Suter now. They have a great they have Stoner. There's so many good defensive prospects. Defensive players. They have a very solid defensive core right now, but they don't have that. They're missing that high-powered offense. But when Cal Clutterbuck is probably going to be your third-line winger, and you're going to have Pierre-Marc Bouchard on that third line, you're going to have, they got Zenon Konopka, who's an amazing grinder. They got Torrey Mitchell, who's another shutdown winger, who can put the puck in the net enough. They'll have a third line, which they all get around 25-30 points. They're all physical, and they're very shut down. Now they have two dynamic offensive lines, and I honestly just can't explain how good it is for the Wild. People will have to definitely keep an eye out. They're not as bad as what you guys are gonna think they are. They're really gonna shock you, and I guess that's enough I can say about those. But those are just insane deals for the Wild. But on another note, how about the Northwest Division? Let's see. Jason Garrison got signed. Justin Schultz. Let's see who else. Dennis Weidman. Ryan Suter. Zach Parise. Nail Yakupov. Yeah, I think the North did pretty well. Pierre Parento with Colorado. The Northwest Division just got tough. And as much as it hates me to say this as a Canucks fan, we maybe have a 2-3 year window to win the cup right now. Especially because, Calgary's going to stay in the basement for a little bit. But No, not my problem there. Colorado's got really good, talented forwards and a solid young D crop, and if they get solid goaltending, they'll make the playoffs. Landeskog's coming on to his second campaign. He should improve on his first. Who else? Minnesota. Minnesota's got Granlund. They've got Parise. They've got Suter. They got Torrey Mitchell. They got Zenon Konopka. They got Cal Clutterbuck. They got Pierre-Marc Bouchard. They got Danny Heatley. They got Devin Setoguchi. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty potent offense. If I was on the NHL team, I'd kind of be scared of that. Yeah, Canucks realistically only got one player. They only got Jason Garrison so far. But they lost Salo, they lost Rome, so they lost two pretty big pieces on the back end. But they still have, a nice little player named Luongo who they're probably going to get rid of. And all of a sudden, all the pressure has fallen off of Gillis and onto Dale Talon and Brian Burke. Brian Burke's going to be under an extremely huge, you can't even say how much pressure he's going to be under, because he has to get goaltending and he knows it. He knows his team's not exactly going to be the best, but he knows they have to get goaltending, and if he doesn't get goaltending, he's going to be pretty much mocked and made fun of because he had an opportunity to get a goaltender, even if it is Luongo. Luongo's still a pretty good goalie. His salary is 9th highest for goalies. He does have that long-term deal, but you look at, Quick, you look at these other goalies, they've got that long deal. DiPietro, another one. It's really, honestly, Luongo's contract isn't as bad as some of the ones out there. Cristobal Huet had a bigger contract than Luongo, but luckily Huet's actually wasn't more than 12 years or something. It was a pretty good free agency, but Canucks right now, they need a second line forward. They need someone who can step up, and maybe if it's a trade with Florida, maybe they can get Stephen Weiss somehow, or with Toronto they can get Colby Armstrong or someone, but I don't know who they're gonna get, but it should be a good deal. It should be a good deal both ways. I know if Canucks can get Markstrom, that one trade that people apparently said was done, Markstrom, Weiss, and a 3rd-round pick for Luongo, I would be laughing because Markstrom's a really, really good goalie and probably better than Luongo. So Canucks would then just have so deep in goaltending. That's about it though, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this little commentary slash Montreal gameplay here. I'm actually off for the day. I will bring you guys a couple more videos maybe today. We'll see how it goes. As always, take care and peace out.